Our call to worship is adapted from a piece by Elandria Williams, about whom we will hear more later in the service. We are worthy, not because of what we produce, but because of who we are. We are divine bodies of light and darkness. You are not worthy because of what you offer, not because of what is in your mind, not for the support you give others, not for what you give at all. We are worthy and are whole just because. In this great turning, in this radical readjustment and alignment, we are not disposable, we are needed. We are the very people that have withstood everything that has been thrown at us as a people. And invoking Maya Angelou, as she would say, still I rise, still we rise. We arise from the pain, we arise from the grief, we arise from the limits people place on us and the limits we place on ourselves. We rise to be the children and the ancestors. We rise to be our true selves in relationship to our families and communities, recognizing our liberating and whole selves, honoring them and others as we strive for abundant communities, abundant lives, abundant relationships, and abundant values and cultural manifestations. We are worthiness personified, not we, small circle, but we, humanity. I, you, we are worthy and deserve a life where we are not always fighting for our existence. Imagine what we could create if we were not always in struggle. Imagine what we could envision if we could just go there. Friends, you are the visionary, you are the hope, you are our ancestors' dreams, and no, you might not ever end up on some list somewhere, but you are on the list of someone's heart and mind. You are the embodiment of what we need, living our values out loud. So let us every day live our values out loud, embodying our values, not the productivity quotient, moving beyond productivity, past productivity, into true embodiment. It is good we gather. It is good we gather together. It is good we gather together to raise up that which is worthy.
Good morning. Please join us in reciting these words in English or Spanish. We kindle this flame to remind ourselves of the light of truth, the warmth of community, and the fire of commitment.
Good morning. Welcome to each of you here in the sanctuary and to those who are joining us online. Welcome to Sunday worship at the First Unitarian Universalist Society of Burlington. I'm Jeff Duke. I use he, him pronouns, and I'm so glad to be here with Mark Power Freeman as we share the role of worship associate today. We are a Unitarian Universalist faith community rooted in the heart of Burlington near the shores of Lake Champlain. We are guided not by a creed, but by our commitment to each other and to shared values that include equity, interdependence, pluralism, justice, generosity, and transformation, with love at the center of all. We are one people of many beliefs and practices, many origins and traditions, many sexualities and genders. We are all growing, all learning, all loved. We warmly welcome all who come in love and friendship to the shared work of building beloved community and making meaning in our lives. I live in Underhill Center, where you can see the colors of autumn blossoming across the foothills of Mount Mansfield. The late blooming purple asters stand out brilliant against the fading browns and golds of the fields and roadsides. The wheel of the year turns. Fall is here. And with it comes the season of respiratory illness. And we welcome masking in this congregation. We encourage vaccinations. And if you are feeling symptoms of illness, we encourage you to stay home, join us via the live stream, and it's an act of caring for yourself and for your community. If you are new to our community and you feel brave, would you be willing to raise your hand so we can extend a special welcome this morning? Welcome. Good morning and welcome. Welcome. We have designated welcome ambassadors this morning, Raya Lele and Mary Harrington. Would you be willing to stand? Thank you very much. Raya and Mary are available to answer any questions you might have about our worship service, our society, or Unitarian Universalism. And really, any of us would be happy to talk to you at length about any of those things. But there are designated welcome ambassadors. If you would like us to connect with you, you will find these cards in the pew in front of you, which you're welcome to fill out and drop in the offertory baskets when the time comes. And that will add you to our mailing list, and you will be notified of things that are going on. In addition, we have a form on our website, uusociety.org. There's a button labeled New to Our Community, which you can click and fill that out online if you prefer, or if you're joining us remotely. I want to express gratitude to the Alden family for the beautiful flowers that were gifted to us after Susan's memorial service yesterday. And I do have a few announcements. Everyone is invited to join coffee hour after the service, which will be downstairs in the community room today. You can reach the community room through this door, and there's an elevator immediately to your right, or you can head straight back, and there's a stairwell that will take you downstairs. And especially, we want to invite anybody who is a newcomer today to join our welcome ambassadors at the welcome table at coffee hour for conversation and connection, and to learn more about our first UU. And I want to encourage all of us who've been here a while to also visit that table and to connect with some newer folks and help them feel more welcome. The Coffee House team invites one and all to join the UU Coffee House and Open Mic this coming Friday, the first Friday of October 3rd. Open mic signups and a tasty dessert potluck start at 6:30 p.m., followed by the open mic at 7 p.m. Share a song or a poem, or just listen and enjoy the company of old and new friends. Welcome. Friends, wherever you've come from, wherever you are, whatever burdens and joys you are carrying, you are welcome just as you are. Blessed be.
We invite you to sing hymn number 1007. It's in your teal hymnal. The words will also be projected up here. We'll be singing verses 1 through 3, and then we'll go back and sing verse 1 over again. And please rise in body or in spirit.
There's a river flowing in my soul. There's a river flowing in my soul, and it's telling me I am somebody. There's a river flowing in my soul. It's flowing in our heart. There's a river flowing in my heart. There's a river flowing in my heart, and it's telling me I am somebody. There's a river flowing in my heart and in my mind. There's a river flowing in my mind. There's a river flowing in my mind, and it's telling me that I'm somebody. There's a river flowing in my. First verse one more time. Lift your voices. We're going to sing that a cappella. There's a river flowing in my soul. Raise your voices. There's a river flowing in my soul, and it's telling me that I'm somebody. There's a river flowing in my soul. Beautiful.
Today, we have the opportunity to raise the pulse of joy, for we are conducting a child dedication this morning. We are dedicating a child in the Unitarian Universalist tradition, blessing with symbols of water, air, fire, earth. And as we do so, we acknowledge that each and every child is a gift from the universe entrusted to our care. That every child is a miracle, that every child is an opportunity to recognize the power of love, is a chance to give thanks for the beauty of this world, is a reminder that no one is brought up alone, and that every person born is meant to be part of the vast conspiracy to heal our common life.
Today, we have the great and solemn responsibility of dedicating Clea Grace and receiving the blessing of ritual conducted in community. I invite Clea's family to come forward and join me here.
No! Come on up. Every child born into this world is something new, something never before original and unique. Every child carries within them gifts from those who were part of their creation, as well as a spark of the divine.
Clea Grace, you carry a spark of the divine. Your family was complete before you arrived, but now that you are here in age-old magic, they are more complete. They shall do their best to teach you. It will be up to you to learn. They shall try to guide you in right directions. It will be up to you to make right decisions. They shall love you to the best of their abilities, honoring your gifts and needs. It will be up to you to love yourself fiercely and without apology, sharing that love in ways that makes the lives of others and the way of the world better.
Jordan and Odessa, I have some questions to ask you, and at the end of the series of questions, I invite you to affirm your covenant with your child and with your children. Do you commit to the best of your ability to bring patience, integrity, and a commitment to grow, as well as a sense of wonder to this child? Will you accept and cherish Clea for who they are and who they will become? Will you believe in Clea and in her capacity to bring goodness to the world? And do you promise to love and protect her, giving her space without letting her go? If so, please answer, we will.
We will.
Erica will administer the symbols.
Where do you think we should put this? Oh.
Beloved child, this is some of our homegrown holy water. May you always find your thirst quenched. May you know the joy of hard work. May your tears always be cared for. And may you dance in the rain and jump in pools and puddles. Beloved, you are of water. And Clea, this is air. May your lungs be full of fresh, sweet air. May you know the joy of a good laugh. May you have a life full of scents and breezes and sighs. May you find your voice through song, whispers, and shrieks. Beloved, you are of air. Dear one, this is fire. May it remind you of the divine spark of all creation that is within you. May it inspire your commitment for love and justice. May you be kept warm by community surrounding you. May all of your days be bright. Beloved, you are of fire. Erica has in her hands a container of dirt from home, named so by the family, meaningful to this family. We are asking Mira, Clea's older sister, to touch this dirt to the bare feet of Clea as I speak these words. Mischief maker, we touch your feet to the earth. May you find yourself at home wherever you are, wherever your feet take you. Our love will always go with you. Beloved, you are of earth. And now, cherished soul, this is a flower made from all these elements. It is, in fact, a thornless rose, for at your tender age, we take on the responsibility to remove as much harm as we can that is within our power to do so. Glad those thorns are gone.
We have a sibling here, one who was dedicated in this very same way not at all long ago. We have some questions to ask you, Mira, about promises you make to your sister. Are you ready? Will you be patient and fair with Clea Grace? Yes. Will you accept her as she is and who she will grow up to be? Yes. Will you explore the world together and be kind? When you get mad at each other, as all siblings do, will you find your way to saying sorry? Sorry. Children and youth of the congregation, we have questions for you. Will you come forward and answer some questions we have?
You can come here.
Gonna. First of all, I'm going to pass out some very holy parts of our ritual here, and they are very tempting. And I would like you to take one if you feel able to wait for the magic word before you touch this to your lips. And the magic word is huzzah, okay? It's a secret. So I'm going to hand these to Violet to pass out to everyone, but only take one if you think you can wait until you hear the magic word. Okay. And then here are the questions I have for you as children of this congregation. You can answer at the end of you can answer each question. Will you accept this friend for exactly who she is and who she will become? I see some nods. Yes, okay. Will you do your best to be kind, patient, and helpful to her? Yes. Will you help her to grow up kind and loving and strong? Yes.
And now the congregation, will you please rise in body or spirit to affirm your covenant with this child and this family? Children are not possessions to own, but blessings entrusted to us to care for and nurture. As a religious community of this child, it is right we accept a measure of responsibility for her care and for the care of her parents. Do you acknowledge your responsibility to care for these members of the next generation? Yes. To the best of your ability, will you welcome these children into your midst? Yes. Will you do your best to remember and call them by name when you encounter them in the world here or elsewhere? Yes. Will you do your best to protect them from harm and to prepare a world worthy of them and of all children? Will you offer freely your support to these parents, knowing that all families need the help and love of friends if they are to thrive? If so, say, we will. We will. And with that, let there be a great huzzah that goes up in the congregation.
Before the children and youth and their guides leave for our faith development activities, I'd like us to stay in place, but maybe making a pathway through the middle of you. We're going to sing As You Journey, first to Clea and her family, one time through, and then as the congregation continues to sing it through, we'll make our way out.
Our first reading this morning is a brief excerpt from the memoir, There Is a River, The Black Struggle for Freedom in America, written by the great civil rights leader Vincent Harding, published in 1993. It is in honoring this book's title and primary metaphor that our hymn and some of our other music pieces were selected this morning. There was also synergy between this metaphor and September's Earth Teacher, which has been Watershed. Harding writes, "At first, as the river metaphor took life within me, I was unduly concerned about its apparent inexactness and ambiguity. Now, with the passing of time and the deepening of our vision, it is possible to recognize that we are, indeed, the river, and at the same time, that the river is more than us, generations more, millions more. Through such an opening, we may sense that the river of Black struggle is people. But it is also hope, the movement, the transformative power that humans create, and that create them, us, and makes them, us, new persons. So, we Black people are the river. The river is us. The river is in us, created by us, flowing out of us, surrounding us, recreating us in this entire nation. I refer to the American nation without hesitation, for the Black river in the United States has always taken on more than Blackness. The dynamics and justice of its movement have continually gathered others to itself, have persistently filled other people with the force of its vision, its indomitable hope. And at its best, the river of our struggle has moved consistently toward the ocean of humankind's most courageous hopes for freedom and integrity, forever seeking what Black people in South Carolina said they sought in 1865, quote, the right to develop our whole being, unquote. Harding concludes, from my perspective, this is the magnificent opening toward which the river has been moving. The great ocean of humanity's best hope that it has always held and nurtured at the center of its own bursting life.
So if you haven't looked at the order of service online or the few that are printed out, you just know that this sermon is in two parts. So you probably already know this, but history is being corrupted by those in power. Black history is being distorted and deleted, not only whitewashed, but sandblasted away, deformed, disappeared, explicitly and insistently by those in power right now, by executive order, and by those obeying and complying. About a month ago, and we're going to see an image in a minute, in St. Petersburg, Florida, a Black History Matters mural painted on the street in front of the Woodson African American Museum was destroyed. You can see the mural there from up high. It was painted on the asphalt road in front of the museum, and the demolition, led by the city, was scheduled for the middle of the night, as if that is not shady in and of itself. Two clergy, a Christian pastor, Andy Oliver, and a Unitarian Universalist minister, Reverend Ben Atherton Zeman, both white men, knew that this was wrong, and in accountable relationship with Black community members, they used their privilege in their bodies as white and as men to get in the way of the demolition crews. They prayed over that worthy message that Black history matters. They prayed over the righteous truth there. The police arrested them, removing their bodies so that the mural could be destroyed. And yet, instead of their nighttime hiding the dastardly deed, this act of civil disobedience brought more attention to the erasure. And there has been, since, an increase in the visible celebration of Black history and culture in St. Pete's. There has been an upsurge of outrage and resistance. Black history matters, even when municipal workers in league with law enforcement remove a history that declares this truth. And at this time, when history books and museums and websites are being scoured for facts and accurate interpretations that make some white people uncomfortable, we must embrace all the true histories, protect them from being disappeared, raise them up as worthy, because we are all bound up together. So this is one of the reasons, and you can remove that image, one of the reasons that this morning's service is focused on Frances Ellen Watkins Harper. Just one of the reasons, because Today, this week, marks the 200th anniversary since Frances Ellen Watkins Harper was born, and so we choose to affirm how important our history, her fact of existence is, and we will name some of the people who live out her legacy now, powerful Black UU women and femmes in our universe. So, we'll see the next one. I want you to hear some words from Frances Ellen Watkins Harper, these words spoken in 1891 and yet relevant today. If we can see the picture of her that's not there. Okay. Those of you who have phones, you could, Frances Ellen Watkins Harper image. She wrote this: "A government which can protect and defend its citizens from wrong and outrage and does not is vicious. A government which would do it and cannot is weak. And where human life is insecure, either through weakness or viciousness in the administration of law, there is a lack of justice." So for more than 2 years, I have been looking forward to preaching about Frances Ellen Watkins Harper. She was raised African Methodist Episcopal, but for the last 40 years of her life, she was an active member of the First Unitarian Church of Philadelphia. During slavery, she was born free in Baltimore. She was one of the earliest Black women whose writing was published in the United States. Her first book was a collection of poems. It was published in 1845 when she was only 20 years old. And she spent her life both writing and speaking, often on the causes of abolition, voting enfranchisement, and the systemic exclusion of Black folks within American society. She was a strong visionary, wrote powerful words, spoke forcefully in public, but she was also a woman of action. A full half-century before Rosa Parks was even born, Frances Ellen Watkins Harper refused to give up her seat on a horse-drawn trolley in Philadelphia more than once. A presence and a power who campaigned and advocated ceaselessly for the emancipation of those who were enslaved and the full enfranchisement of all people of all races and all genders, including facing head-on the racism exhibited by white suffragists. Watkins Harper famously critiqued them with these words: "You white women speak here of rights, I speak of wrongs." Not only was her writing well received, she was a sought-after speaker on the various circuits popular in that era for bringing lecturers. The Maine Anti-Slavery Society hired her as a lecturing agent, and since she went as far west as Michigan, I can't help but wonder if she didn't travel to Vermont, but I haven't been able to find anything that says so. I loved learning that Frances Ellen Watkins Harper corresponded with the fiery abolitionist John Brown after he was imprisoned for his violent takeover of Harper's Ferry in hopes of fomenting a revolution to bring an end to slavery. She actually spent extended time with Brown's soon-to-be widow. And in that waiting time, Watkins Harper wrote these words to him: "We may earnestly hope that your fate will not be a vain lesson, that it will intensify our hatred of slavery and love of freedom, and that your martyr grave will be a sacred altar upon which men will record their vows of undying hatred to that system which tramples on man and bids defiance to God." I ask you to notice this connection to John Brown, in part because on the first Sunday in December this year, near the anniversary date of his funeral, I will be telling the story of how the minister of this congregation went and officiated that funeral. My colleague, the Reverend Dan Schatz, in researching his sermon to honor the bicentennial celebration of her birth, which he gave last Sunday, he discovered a phrase of hers that resounds in modern Unitarian Universalism. In 1857, she wrote an essay on Christianity in which she used the phrase, dignity and worth. And now we trace that to a century before, to Immanuel Kant, but here we have Frances Ellen Watkins Harper being one of our voices through the ages that makes sure that this is a relevant concept to us today. She is still with us today. Earlier this year, the UU World, the magazine of our association, published an article about her, sharing more highlights about this religious forebear of ours, and I commend it to you. We'll include a link to it in the e-news next week. In that article, I learned that in 1992, several Black UUs gathered to honor Harper's memory by replacing her headstone at Eden Cemetery, the oldest public Black-owned cemetery in the United States. And in 2011, on the 100th anniversary of her death, First Unitarian Church of Philadelphia hosted a celebration of her life and legacy. If you do read the order of service today, you will see at the top there her most famous quote. It goes like this: "We are all bound up together in one great bundle of humanity, and society cannot trample on the weakest and feeblest of its members without receiving a curse on its own soul." May we take as real the wisdom of these words, the truth that one of our religious forebears spoke to us 159 years ago and still speaks to us today, and may we be the antidote to that curse. Now that I have shared just some of her greatness, Jeff is going to read for us a poem she wrote in 1895. Its title is Songs for the People.
Let me make the songs for the people, songs for the old and young, songs to stir like a battle cry wherever they are sung, not for the clashing of sabers, for carnage nor for strife, but songs to thrill the hearts of men with more abundant life. Let me make the songs for the weary, amid life's fever and fret, till hearts shall relax their tension and careworn brows forget. Let me sing for little children before their footsteps stray, sweet anthems of love and duty to float o'er life's highway. I would sing for the poor and aged when shadows dim their sight, of the bright and restful mansions where there shall be no night. Our world, so worn and weary, needs music, pure and strong, to hush the jangle and discords of sorrow, pain, and wrong. Music to soothe all its sorrow, till war and crime shall cease, and the hearts of men grown tender gird the world with peace.
Now is the time in our service when we engage in spiritual practices that are invited to you and to all and required of none, a chance for prayer or meditation, ritual, generosity. With that in mind, dear ones, let us join together in the spirit of prayer and meditation. Let us quiet our minds, open our hearts, release our fears, to the love surrounding us. Spirit of life, we offer our gratitude to be breathing in this moment. Our bodies, some ragged, some energized, brought us to this place that we might be here together, here in person and online, that we might be more than the sum of our parts, that we might slow down and touch that which is greater than any of us. Spirit of life, we offer our grief, the hurt of this world, its unanswered promises, its questions that prick at our hearts, that make us heavy with our own and the world's suffering. Heavier still when we forget to name this grief, to notice it and let it be known. And so we gather today to give voice to this grief, this sadness, to mourn it in our own hearts with others by our side. And Spirit of life, we seek to touch that joy that never leaves the world, that is not happiness built on happenstance, but is living, breathing joy greater than any single moment. We cannot always feel it, but we seek to remember that it is always there, around us and within us. In the circle of care, this community of trepidation, we express a prayer that the calling of the highest level generals and admirals to Quantico this Tuesday, an unheard of gathering, not be of the worst case scenarios that many are speculating about. May we keep acting out of hope for the best and preparing for the worst. In the circle of care, this community of resistance, we note that this Tuesday also, the Second Circuit of the Supreme Court is holding a hearing on the liberty of Mohsen Madawi, whose freedom, after being abducted by ICE in Colchester, was established just across the street at the federal building this past May, because the U.S. government continues to attempt to detain and deport him, robbing him of his right, robbing us of our right to free speech. In the circle of care, this community of compassion, we express our concern and our comfort for the Burlington neighborhood which experienced fear last Sunday when a neighbor made threats, including racist ones, and caused true fear for their safety. And of this incident, we hold in our compassionate care for that neighbor who caused this fear, who made those threats, Aaron, a congregant of this church. We lament that this incident resulted in a police officer shooting Aaron, and we send our prayers as he recovers in the hospital, his condition having been critical but now stabilized. And we hold in our hearts his sister and father as they tend to him and help ensure that he gets the medical care he needs. In the circle of care, this community of compassion, we hold Layla in our prayers and comfort as she recovers from a minor health incident this weekend. And in this circle of care, this community of joy, we celebrate with Outright Vermont their annual fire truck pull, the last ever, but successfully raising an abundance of funds and fun yesterday. And in this circle of care, this community of joy, we join with Sarah, who is excited that her granddaughter is now within driving distance, not a flight away, in order to celebrate her 12th birthday. Let us spend the next few moments connecting with the yearning within our hearts, prayers only we know, until the chime rings again. Amen.
As a justice-seeking spiritual community, our generosity practice includes sharing half the offering each Sunday with an organization that is doing good work that aligns with our UU values. Offerings this month will be shared with Sunday Morning Breakfast, a ministry of this congregation which began in October 2022. Initially serving 30 people, Sunday morning breakfast has grown to feed 80 to 100 people each Sunday. Your generosity this morning helps ensure our neighbors are nourished in both body and in spirit.
When the music plays in just a moment, we invite you to come forward to quietly mark a joy, a sorrow, or a gratitude in your life by moving a stone from one of the baskets onto the table, creating a representation of our shared lives at this special, fleeting moment. As you are moved, please come forward along the outer aisles and return to your seat via the center aisle. Please know that it is okay for more than one person at a time to place a stone. If you have a gift to add to the offering, you can place it in one of the baskets here at the top of the outer aisles. Or you can make your offering online at uusociety.org. If you are at home or you prefer to remain seated, we invite you to lean into the music as an opportunity for stillness and centering as it makes sense to you.
Thank you, Sam. Will you join me in the words for dedicating our offering? We dedicate these gifts in the service of our mission to inspire spiritual growth, care for each other and our community, seek truth, and act for justice.
So just before I dip back into the river of the sermon, the second part of it, I just want to say it was only this morning that I learned that Mohsen Madawi's, this hearing is happening in New York City, not across the street, on Tuesday from 2 to 3, and there's a call for people who are in the New York area to bring their bodies to be in vigil. And so I'm going to be meditating. Mohsen is a meditator. He's a Buddhist. He's a Palestinian. Right? I'm going to be meditating on our lawn, and I invite anyone to join me. I'm going to aim to be there at 1:45. The ask is for folks to kind of show up in some way from 2 to 3, not knowing exactly when this hearing will be. So y'all consider yourself invited. So the second part of the sermon, the celebration of the river of Black struggle that rolls and roils within the United States and within Unitarian Universalism, focuses on the power and presence of Black women, what they have brought, what they continue to bring, flowing in the legacy of Frances Ellen Watkins Harper. And we want to raise up to you 3 additional Black femmes. And I say Black femmes, not women, because while 2 of the people we want to tell you about identify as women, one of them, the one you are going to hear first about, identified as non-binary in the last few years of their life. And so I had to struggle how to make sure we learn about them, but make sure that also we honor them as they understood themselves. And then I heard this wisdom, some thems present as femmes. And I was like, yeah, that's E, that's Elandria. So let us first hear about Elandria.
All righty. We should be seeing an image of Elandria soon here. There we go, thank you. When Elandria Williams died at 41 years of age, 5 years ago this week, the Reverend Mr. Barb Grieve, who had served as co-moderator of the Unitarian Universalist Association with Elandria, said this: E lived an intersectional life. E was African American, E lived with disabilities, and I don't know how Elandria defined E's gender, but certainly not cis. E moved in and out of those communities, reminding us that people could live multiple truths simultaneously. In each setting and relationship, Elandria was known by different nicknames and pronouns, a true reflection of the beautiful ways our beloved moved through life and community. E was a lifelong UU and a member of the Tennessee Valley Unitarian Universalist Church in Knoxville, where she grew up. Where E grew up. It was said of E that they attracted people from all walks of life. When E showed up at UUA headquarters in Boston, everyone from the janitor to the president would line up to hang out. Elandria was a youth leader with Young Religious Unitarian Universalists, YRUU, and later, in 2007, as a young adult, she received the Outstanding Anti-Racist Activist and Leadership Award from DRUM, which stands for Diverse and Revolutionary UU Multicultural Ministries. E was a founding member of Black Lives of UU. E was elected to the UUA Board of Trustees in 2016, and soon thereafter, when Unitarian Universalism had one of our reckonings around race and racism in the spring of 2017, E became co-moderator. Outside of the Unitarian Universalism proper, E worked for 11 years at the highly respected Highlander Research and Education Center in Tennessee. That's the place where Rosa Parks went for strategic training before she refused to get off the bus. At the time of their death, E was the executive director of the People's Hub, an online popular education school for activists grounded in solidarity, economy, and disability justice principles. Here again, a small part of this morning's call to worship, written by Elandria. As you listen, see if you can hear what Frances Ellen Watkin Helper's message that we are all bound up together in one great bundle of humanity. We are worthy, not because of what we produce, but because of who we are. We are divine bodies of light and darkness. You are not worthy because of what you offer, not because of what is in your mind, not for the support you give others, not for what you give at all. We are worthy and are whole just because. Imagine what we could create if we were not always in the struggle. Imagine what we could envision if we could just go there. You are the visionary. You are the hope. You are our ancestors' dreams.
We should be seeing an image of Paula Cole-Jones. Is that something we have available? Excellent. Paula Cole-Jones is widely known for her stewardship of the Eighth Principle Project, a grassroots movement within Unitarian Universalism to raise up our religious commitment to the dismantling of systemic oppressions as one of our core principles. Our eighth, when we only had 7 officially adopted. She was its co-author back in 2013, and when our association shifted to a focus on values, she was part of the Article 2 study commission that ensured the language of the Eighth Principle was embedded throughout the new values with the love at the center. In 2019, she gave the annual Sophia Foz Lecture, given by an individual whose life and work has shown a commitment and understanding of the meaning, the depth, and the challenges of religious education in Unitarian Universalism. In that lecture, she spoke of her provocative and creative conceptualization of congregational life not according to traditional organizational charts, but as, quote, communities of communities. A member of All Souls Unitarian in Washington, D.C., she has received award after award for her service to our faith movement. The latest came this past June at General Assembly, when she received the Award for Distinguished Service to the Cause of Unitarian Universalism, one of the most prestigious awards given by the Unitarian Universalist Association. That award is given to a person who has strengthened the institutions of our Unitarian Universalist denomination or clarified our message in an extraordinary way. The person who receives this award is understood to exemplify what Unitarian Universalism stands for. Referencing a story Paula Cole-Jones often tells about Miles Davis, Reverend Tracy Robinson Harris said this of her just before she accepted the award at the closing ceremony at GA. Paula challenges us to play above what we know, to do something different from what we do all the time. She helps us understand where we are, how we got here, and what keeps us here. She encourages us to be more imaginative, more innovative, to take more risks. Think of the Eighth Principle Project and how it informs our values, including justice, transformation, equity, all centered in love. Thank you, Paula, for your faithful insistence that our community of faith can become what we aspire to be. So much of Paula Cole-Jones' ministry as a layperson reflects that message. We are all bound up together in one great bundle of humanity.
Finally, I want to raise up one more powerful Black UU woman in our present-day association, the Reverend Kimberly Quinn Johnson. Hopefully, yep, okay. So as with the others, you can see on the right side what Reverend Kimberly looks like now, and on the left, there are two much younger ministers, one of whom is Reverend Kimberly, and, well, the other one, maybe you know her. Reverend Kimberly was elected to be one of two co-moderators of the Unitarian Universalist Association alongside co-moderator Bill Young just this past June. She serves as the minister of the UU congregation of the South Fork on the far end of Long Island. And though her curricula vitae is comprehensively detailed with long positions where she has been in service to so many Unitarian Universalist communities and associations and groups, and in her own local community space, I can't say them all because she has done nearly everything. She's been on the board of the UU Service Committee, who we're going to hear from in December, the UU Women's Federation, Black Lives of UU, the St. Lawrence Foundation for Theological Education. She was a chair of the UU Class Conversations. There is so much more, but not enough time to list them. Before becoming a minister, she was a union organizer. She's been an adjunct professor teaching women's and gender studies with a focus on diversity and difference. And as her friend, I'm kind of hoping that she's going to give that up because she's really busy and I want her to have a life. So, Jamie, just going dormant on that one. Reverend Kimberly is actually coming to First UU Society here in Burlington. She won't be in the pulpit, but she'll be here on October 19th singing with us as we get to explore our new hymnal and attending the Growing Our Bravery session afterwards. So I hope that you will give her a warm welcome when she's here. As we shift moving towards the end of the service, I just want a last word that to me signifies how we are bound up together, this one great bundle of humanity. I want to give a shout out to a local project called the Vibrant Lives Project that local poet Rajni Edens is the primary organizer for. It connects local youth, primarily youth of color, with elders across an age span, also local, to conduct oral histories so that those stories, those histories, those contributions are not lost. One of the ways that we will be known is not only by the company we keep, but the company we keep in how we tell our stories and our histories. Which histories we say matter, whose lives are recorded and remembered and integrated into the great turning that is upon us. For how we tell our history and whose stories we include, how we resist erasure of those marginalized reveals what seeds we are sowing now and for the future. So let us not be cursed in our soul, as Frances Ellen Watkins Harper said, happens, but affirm our part in this diverse and great bundle of humanity. So be it. See to it. Amen.
We shall be known by the company we keep, by the ones who circle around to tend these fires. We shall be known by the ones who sow and reap the seeds of change alive from deep within the earth. It is time now. It is time now ourselves into the well. It is time now, and what a time to be alive. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. We shall be known by the company we keep, by the ones who circle around to tend these fires. We shall be known by the ones who sow and reap the seeds of change alive from deep within the earth. It is time now. It is time now that we thrive. It is time we lead ourselves into the well. It is time now, and what a time to be alive. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. We shall be known by the company we keep, by the ones who circle around to tend these fires. We shall be known by the ones who sow and reap the seeds of change alive from deep within the earth. It is time now. It is time now that we thrive. It is time we lead ourselves into the well. It is time now, and what a time to be alive. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love.
We invite you to again join us in saying the words as we extinguish the chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts and share with the world until we are together again.
May you know the blessing you already are, and may you sense the blessing you yet can be. And may we all go out and be a blessing in the world.